We are back, another episode of Chef's Kiss. It is me, Chef from Sheffield Shuffler. We got John LaLogia with me, per usual, my co-host. What's up, John?
What's up, buddy? We're rocking the golf hats today. You got so into golf this summer, and we wanted to sport our best golf hats.
Yeah, I told you this brand that I found called Sunday Swagger. They have awesome stuff. As you could tell, this is their Augusta hat that I saw online. I was like, I have to have that. It's probably one of the coolest hats I've ever seen. Their logos, that little, golf hand, and just a cool little golf hat, dude. Little thing here, and so
That's
I'm happy.
pretty
I told you,
sweet.
my clubs are coming on Friday. They got shipped out on Tuesday. They're coming Friday, so get ready for some golf content.
I'm pumped. I'm actually playing this weekend with my dad and my brother-in-law and future brother-in-law. So my sister Maria, who was in your graduating class, her future husband, her fiance, is a golf pro. He actually just took first place in a tournament. So I've never played with him before. And I asked my dad, I was like, how good is he? And he's like, he can fucking smoke it, dude. He goes, we're gonna look real bad. He goes, he's super chill, he's super nice, and he's a teacher too. He's the golf pro, so he's totally chill with like crappy players, and it's gonna be great because not only do I get to play with him and hang out with him and spend a lot of time with him, just because I haven't been able to spend a ton of time with him. With the move and Theo and everything. So I'm excited to hang out with him, and I'm also excited for him to like get some tips along the way, some free lessons. Yeah. Be like, hey, like, am I doing this right? Like, help me out.
Right.
So pretty pumped about that. I'm surprised, honestly, that your hat. Augusta's pretty hardcore as far as like their copyright infringement, like letting their brand be used for anything else. I would like to know. Shout out to Sunday Swagger and Sunday Swagger. If you want to send us any other swag, I will literally take anything. But I wonder how they got around that, because I bet Augusta probably was furious about that, or unless they altered it slightly where it's technically not theirs.
And that's
Is that how you get around that?
Yeah, because I do like merch and stuff, and sometimes it'll get flagged because if you alter it enough, that's why they got like the golf hand over it, so you can, I guess, argue and say that that's not their logo because.
I'm curious about that. So like you do a lot of graphic design. Like what's the rule, or what you have? How different do you have to make it? Like is there a specific guideline that you have to follow?
I actually got a letter from Lamar Jackson's lawyers for copyright infringement. That's no joke.
Shit.
I got a letter from them.
Dude, you better listen. That dude just got paid.
Fuck off. I don't care about that. I subscribe to the theory, John. Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Okay.
So that's how I operate my life, my business. I'm going to do it and then ask for forgiveness as opposed to asking for permission and have you tell me no. So
if you are at liberty to say, what were they pissed about?
So I made a shirt. It was a sweatshirt. It's I drew it. It was a representation of Lamar Jackson. Looked just like him with his sunglasses on. You know, when he's on the sideline, he's got those cool
blue blackers.
Pit vipers. Yeah, the pit vipers that I
yeah,
had.
whatever.
And I drew looks just like him. That's not the issue. The issue was I put Action Jackson on it, and apparently he owns that trademark. So that was the issue. So once I put it on social media, they sent me an email that said, it was from blah 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 and blah, like the attorneys, and it was like not a cease and desist, but it was like a copyright infringement kind of thing. This needs to come off. So yeah, that was that.
Did you do it?
I took it off. Yeah. I have the shirts printed though. I printed 4 sweatshirts. I sold them, so technically it was illegal. So if they're listening, they're definitely not. But yeah, so I sold them, and then after they got sold, I think they saw them on social media because I hashtagged it Action Jackson, so they probably were keeping an eye on that. Saw that someone was selling shirts on there and sent it over. But I got some sales out of it, so
dude, it's awesome.
For me.
You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember the famous Jet Jackson on Disney Channel?
Yeah, I just sang the theme song.
Not to be a downer, that dude killed
Died?
himself.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
He committed suicide.
Wasn't he super handsome too?
Dude, he not only was he handsome, he was like a really good athlete. He was in shape. He was the backup running back to. So in the movie Friday Night Lights, he was the backup running back to Boobie Miles, who was like the stud running back in Friday Night Lights, who tore his ACL, and then backup, he was being made fun of the whole time. The actor who played the famous Jet Jackson, he played that character, and he was like the stud running back who like became like the star. And I think he committed suicide, dude. I'm gonna feel really bad if
this was not on the rundown, guys.
No, this was spontaneous. This was spontaneous, but I'm almost positive he.
Wouldn't be the first Disney star. I know that much.
That's correct.
But yeah, sad story. That's how it goes.
Yep. He passed away August 19th, 2013. Yes, died by a self-inflicted gunshot. Very sad, but brought us a lot of great content.
Yeah.
Speaking of great stars, transitioning to one of the greatest baseball players of all time, I don't think we can debate that, Barry Bonds. So, Bonds, you mentioned this on Sheffield Shuffler and Twitter. So HBO announced a new Barry Bonds documentary in production. I'll just give you here how it's written. The untitled HBO sports documentary will tell the story of Barry Bonds, baseball's single-season all-time home run king, from his beginnings as the son of all-star Barry Bonds and godson of iconic Willie Mays, all the way up to his meteoric rise in the 90s and 2000s. Using archival footage and original interviews, the film will chronicle Bonds' emergence as one of the best players of all time with the Pirates and Giants, amidst controversy, end quote. So I'm thinking, one, I'm excited about this. I think Barry Bonds, if you're going to let any steroid players in, you have to let them all in. So obviously he easily gets in. However, The Last Dance, so I don't know if we talked about this on the pod. So The Last Dance obviously is on Netflix. It was phenomenal. You get the behind-the-scenes footage of Michael Jordan in the 90s Bulls, which was amazing. So Ken Burns, the famous documentarian, who has done, the documentary of baseball and the Vietnam War and the Brooklyn Bridge and all these different, one of the most famous documentarians. He was asked about The Last Dance. It was during COVID. It was all the hype. It's all people were talking about. They're like, hey, Ken, The Last Dance, right? Yeah, and Tiger King, obviously, was amazing. They were like, hey, you must love The Last Dance. This is phenomenal. It's like one of the best docu-series ever. And he goes, actually, I haven't watched it. And they go, why not? And he goes, well, Michael Jordan had Final Cut, which essentially meant that when you have Final Cut, it means Michael Jordan gets to show the public whatever he wants them to see. Right. He gets to show... Director's cut, exactly. So he goes, and I would never make the main subject of my documentary, I would never agree to give them Final Cut. Because Jordan was an asshole in that documentary. We only saw a fraction of that. He was, you hear Scottie Pippen talk about, you hear other players talk about him. By the way. Yes, like that. Also said recently in an interview that he was a horrible player. Okay. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Michael Jordan was not a horrible player. Maybe a horrible player to play with, but not a horrible player. That's just a horrible person. Yeah, well, a horrible person, but not a horrible player. That is a very important distinction. That's just jealousy from Pippen. But the thing I worry about with the Bonds thing is Bonds can't be in this documentary. He just fucking can't. And I bring it back. He's not attached to it. Thank God, because it would totally ruin it, and it reminds me of Long Gone Summer, that documentary about the home run chase with Sosa and McGuire, with ESPN did, which fucking sucked. It was horrible because they barely mentioned the steroids, and they had both of them in it. I don't want my subjects in the documentary.
Can I argue something?
I thought, I mean, it was cool it was cool to see that. It was cool to see things it was nostalgic. I remember from my childhood. I enjoyed it, but did I think it was a really great documentary? No, not at all. I thought it was so weak, but I knew it was going to be because, one, it was ESPN, and they play it safe, and they also had their controversial subjects in the documentary.
So you wouldn't want Barry Bonds in there. Let me give you this
No
perspective,
way.
John. Let me give you this perspective, right? You go through the documentary, an hour 15, hour 25 minutes. The last 5 minutes enters Barry Bonds. You see the empty seat, right? And all of a sudden, Barry Bonds comes in and he sits down. We get a confession from Barry Bonds. I took steroids. Bang! That would be huge. You get a confession of what he did, how he did it, naming maybe other players. That would be so explosive. The last 5 to 10 minutes of him saying, I took steroids. Here's who was involved. This is when I took it. A confession would be amazing television. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. That would be phenomenal, and it would be really smart to leave it till the end so people have to watch the whole documentary, although I'm sure people would cut it in clips on social media immediately. But however, I think that would be amazing. Everyone's gone on some sort of talk show and revealed it. Lance Armstrong, various other athletes. I think that would be super cool to do and just admit something that we all know. Right. In that documentary. He'll never do it, just like Pete Rose. Well, if Pete Rose did eventually do it, but it was too late. I think Bonds is such an angry person, and I think he just has too much contempt to do it, and so much time has passed, and I just don't think he'll ever do it. And it's really a tragedy because he's a prisoner of the Bay Area. He can't go anywhere outside of San Francisco because
he worked for the Marlins.
Yeah, he worked for the Marlins, but like it. When you talk about Barry Bonds, the first thing you think about is steroids. You don't think about any of his other accomplishments. That comes later. The first thing you think about is that he cheated. Same with the 2017 Astros. When you think of Jose Altuve or Alex Bregman, the first thing you think about is cheating. Even Garrett Cole to some extent.
I guess that's who you ask.
Dude, that's most people. When I
think of Barry Bonds, I think of home runs. When I hear Altuve,
yes, but that's not the first thing you think of. Be true to yourself. When you think of Barry Bonds, when someone mentions Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? It isn't a seven-time Cy Young Award winner, and it's not the home run king. It's steroids, controversy, cheating. Then right after that it comes, God, they were phenomenal players.
I could see Barry Bonds be connected to that just because of the records that he broke that were supposed to be so sacred. That's why it comes with it. But when you mention Roger Clemens, steroids is not the first thing that comes to my mind, at least.
Well, I think I would disagree. And I think because baseball fans are – we've talked about this, I think. In my opinion, there are no passive baseball fans. You either love baseball or you don't care and don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. So with Barry Bonds and Alex Bregman and some of these other players, either people don't know who they are or they definitely know who they are and they know exactly what they did. And that sucks. And that must be really hard for them, you know? And they're going to have to carry that with them for the rest of their lives. Like any fan, anyone who knows anything about baseball or anything about who they are or what they did, that is the first thing that's going to come to their mind. Bonds can't go anywhere outside the Bay Area because people know. And it's really sad. He's a prisoner of the Bay Area.
The thing, too, is we're going to have to draw a point or draw a line at some point. Is Jose Altuve, if he continues to have a stellar career, he has one of the most one of the most home runs in the postseason. Does he
Right.
go on? Does he go on to the Hall of Fame because it wasn't steroids, but it still was cheating? They acknowledged it as cheating. So we're gonna have to draw a line somewhere, right?
I don't think
cheating?
I don't think these writers. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna get in.
These writers are gonna die off at some point, right? These old-headed baseball writers who get the votes are going to die off at some point, and people like us, of our age, of our understanding, are going to get in. Whether or not they age out and they have that 10 years where they aren't nominated, that's remain to be seen. But
there is a character and morality clause. So, do you not care about that? You're just like, hey, what you did on the field. That's all that matters, right?
100%. Because if there was a character morality clause, Aroldis Chapman's not going to get in.
Totally agree. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, but again, like the things that Bonds did totally affected what he did on the field. The things that Altuve and Bregman and Cole and that whole 27 Astros team that affected that. You talk to the 2017 Yankees. I'm not saying the Yankees are choir boys themselves at all, but I'm just saying, like, you talk to the 2017 Yankees, and you talk to them about is it fair, or the 2017 LA Dodgers.
Sure.
You know? Like, it definitely affected it. Like, big time. So, yeah, it does make a huge difference. And that is the first thing. When you think of Jose Altuve, you don't think of a stud all-star first baseman. You think of a cheater a second baseman, sorry. You think of a cheater. Or you don't even know who the hell he is.
A little person.
He's tiny, but dude, like so much power. It's just incredible.
Especially, I think it's like 28 home runs, something like that in the postseason. Absurd.
But ultimately, it's what are we doing here on this planet? It's like how will we be remembered? And history is not and has not been kind to Bonds or Clemens, and I don't think it will be. And
what's a shame, John, is
it is a shame.
Well, we were talking about how many people are being let into the Hall of Fame now. It's kind of like, wow, it's the Hall of mediocrity. You got Fred McGriff, Scott Rowland. Not taking anything away from those guys, but when there was the Hall of Fame, there's supposed to be the top tier 1% of players, right? Not just, he was a top 5 third baseman or blah, blah. Everybody's getting let in. You got Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland in, but you don't have these guys. And but it's a product of their time, though. That's the thing, is like, that was a time in baseball, so we have to accept it or we don't. And obviously they haven't.
Right, they haven't accepted it too. And but that also tells you too that they'd rather take a player, and I'm not saying Scott Rowland is not a good player, but are you telling me Scott Rowland is as good a player as Barry Bonds? No, not even close. And obviously I know they play different positions, but you know what I mean?
Right,
it's more important that they were a good player and played by the rules than an out of this world, once in a generation left fielder who cheated. It's more important. And that's what the BBWAA, whatever, is saying. They're saying character matters, and telling the truth matters, and there are consequences if you don't. And
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, and baseball fans, they remember. There was this one, I don't remember what Sports Center anchor said it, but it's so true. Like, it's so true. Like, baseball fans have great memories, but baseball players have even better memories. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like an intro to Sports Center, and I think it was the brawl when Harper was with the Nationals and he hit and Brian Strickland hit him, and he just went out and threw his fucking helmet at him. And the opening line, it might have been John Butchengross or somebody, maybe John Anderson, was like, baseball players have short tempers and long memories. And then this was from like a year ago when he had hit him too.
Right,
and baseball player, like, and I've heard podcasts with baseball players. They're like, oh yeah, like I remember like 4 years ago when I was in Double A or whatever, when I was in the Pirates organization, like, and I got my chance and I fucking drilled them. You know what I mean? Sure. Like they don't forget anything. You know, and I think people who love the game of baseball are the same. There are no passive baseball fans. You either don't care about it at all or you really care about it. And so you're either completely anonymous and no one knows who you are, or they know you and you're infamous. You're known for something terrible.
What I'm excited about, John, is Barry Bonds came out and said, I am not linked to this project. I'm actually coming out with a better documentary, a bigger, better one. So keep an eye out for that. So
okay, that's his side of the story. Okay,
oh, sure, exactly. I'm excited to see all of it. I don't care.
I'll watch it, but like he's a fucking liar, man. He's a liar. Why am I fucking watching that? You know what I mean?
I watch tons of liars every day.
I mean, listen, I'm a sucker for content. I will watch it. I watched that 7-part Jeter documentary, and maybe like 20 minutes of it was interesting.
We could tear it apart, John, and be like, look how he answered. It's such a lie. Look at his body posture. Things like we tear it apart. If that's what it turns out to be. But I'm all about it. I think it's such a great subject matter. And to hear it's like if O.J. Simpson made a documentary. Like, you wouldn't watch that, like knowing he's going to lie? I'm still watching that.
Well, first of all, the one of the greatest documentaries ever made was O.J. Made in America. The
People versus O.J.
Yes, The People versus O.J., but that was a show on FX. I'm talking about the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, O.J. Made in America. Yes. And it talks about the LAPD, police brutality, how like O.J.'s stature in L.A., and it went through all of that. That won an Academy Award for Best Documentary, and guess what? He wasn't interviewed once, and that's why it was really good. You don't want the subject in it, and I think you don't. The unless it's like but it depends on the subject. Like Willie Mays, that documentary on HBO about Willie Mays, that was cool. He was in it, and it was a cool thing. It talked about his time in the minor leagues and coming up and playing, almost 20 years with the Giants, and that was really cool. And it was cool to hear some stories of him, and that's awesome. But for a subject like Bonds, or someone controversial, or someone who was, considered, to commit perjury by lying to a grand jury, I don't fucking want him in a documentary. I want reporters, I want journalists, I want people who cover this day in and day out. I want reputable sources that can talk about this and talk about it in a real way. I love The Last Dance. I've rewatched it, but I watch it with a grain of salt, knowing I'm not seeing the whole picture with Michael Jordan.
All right, John, we're going to move on. Agree to disagree on that. Regardless, we're going to watch it, and it's going to be phenomenal.
100% we're watching it.
About anyway. John, you have a problem in your rec softball league. In regards to etiquette, you have a question. It was a call. Somebody called in asking about rec league softball etiquette. John, what's the issue?
So I'm on a softball team. Everyone's awesome. We're having a great time. We're currently 500. I am not the best softball player, but I'm decent. I can play a little bit. And it's getting to a point where we kind of know people, we've played, I think, 8 games. So we kind of know people's strengths and weaknesses.
Sure.
And this is a rec league softball team. We are not a team that's been together forever. I just signed up as an individual. We all got mashed up on this team.
Give us the competition level, though, John. How competitive is the league scale 1 to 10? 10 being gritty, everyone's screaming, yelling. How competitive is the league? So
the league, it depends on the team. Our team is super competitive. Like, dude, I get, I'm not kidding, 40 text messages a day about this team, lineup construction, composite bats, which ones to buy. I mean, it's a lot.
All right, just say 10. We get
it's a lot.
Just
okay.
Say 10.
So I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be cordial, but at what point, when certain players keep making errors at third base constantly and people are missing balls in the outfield, and listen, softball, people are going to get hits. They're going to score some runs because you're just lobbing it there.
Sure.
So how you win is by just, you can't give them extra outs. You got to make a couple plays in the field. Okay. Yep. You got to field some ground balls. You got to make some catches in the outfield. I'm not even talking about difficult plays. I'm talking about relatively routine plays. Right. We're not making them. I've identified other players that can make them. And so I have an idea about a reshuffling, not just in the batting order, but in the field. So lineup construction.
Yes.
But I have not broached this. I have not been like, okay, this is exactly who I think. Like, Zach's hitting first. He's hitting leadoff.
You are not team manager.
No, absolutely. I'm not team manager. But I follow baseball. I've written about it for a long time, and you and me, like we spent a lot of time around the game. We know. I've seen enough. I have this biggest sample size to know that like you should not be playing there.
This is our best shot to win.
Yes. Yeah. And they do, and they want to win. My where I struggle is if I do this, there's no going back. And I come forth and I say, hey, I think this should be the lineup, and I think that this is where everyone should play because this gives us the best chance to win. You know what I mean? Am I being an asshole because it's a rec league? Should I just let it go and play? Or should I be like, all right, we're 500. We're about to play some of the best teams in the league.
Well, who's making the lineup currently?
The fucking team captain.
And how close are you with the team captain?
Not close.
So you would have to go to him to talk about this, correct? Because he's the one that's making the lineup every day.
It's essentially, but it's also lineup by committee. People are like, someone made it one time on like a laminated sheet, and that's just like what we go off of. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to be chill about it, be like, yeah, wherever, I'll play infield, I'll play outfield, whatever. But like now we're 500, we're 8 games in, and I'm just sick and tired of watching balls go right through people's legs or missing. I'm just getting so fucking mad because I am also competitive, but I also don't want to be a dick. So I'm just frustrated. Like, do I just come out and be like, hey, this should be the lineup, and that's that. Yeah,
try bullying. Bullying really helps.
Yeah,
the third baseman that keeps going through his legs, give a couple olays, maybe something of that from right field to kind of get under his skin to be like, hey, I got to stay down. That kind of bullying really builds people up to become what they should be. I've found, throughout middle school and high school and stuff. So
just be like, hey, you know what? Like, why don't you just sit on the bench? We're just better off just like not even on the field. Like, I'll play left field and I'll play third base. I'll just like run up.
You say that, and then you wait a second, and then you go, I'm just kidding.
I'm just
kidding.
And
then you go run out to your position. Those snide remarks that are just like, damn, was he serious?
Just like death by 1,000 cuts. Just like keep fucking,
Yeah.
Like,
hey, Frankie, you got more errors than I have hits. That's insane.
Like, dude, man. Like, dude, you throw the ball really high over the first baseman's head, like, a lot. Like, probably more than every third baseman in the league. You probably have more overthrows than every third baseman in the league. Yeah. And it happens, like, 4 times a game.
Yeah, come up with some good jokes. And, throw them out there and, maybe shame them into a point.
I think that's what it is. Shame them, yeah.
To where they give up their position and you don't even have to say anything.
Right.
They throw out does anybody else want to play third? And then you can be like, oh, Tommy, you play third. And
in a fun recreational league that people just have an excuse to get out of their house once a week to play, to relive the glory days.
John, we expect you to implement some of those strategies and then come back and tell us how that went. John, you sent me a list. Which active MLB players will be future Hall of Famers?
I did, and we kind of went through I don't know if we should go through the list because essentially we kind of talked about it and we thought about maybe they might all be. So I don't think we do that. What I think is more interesting is that we go through the best non-Hall of Famer and see if they should get in. So, okay, Rafael Palmeiro, does he get in? Will he get in? Or will he not because of performance-enhancing drugs?
Probably not, because he was in front of Congress too, correct?
Yes. Okay, so no on him. What about Jorge Posada?
Have to look. Do we have his numbers up here?
I don't. These are honorable mentions. But these are the guys that I wanted to talk about that were fringe, that I thought were really, really interesting. I think Jorge Posada, because he played with the Yankees, gets in. I don't think Joe Mauer gets in. I definitely think Buster going catchers here, just so you're with us.
Sure.
I definitely think Buster Posey gets in 100% for sure, just because of the 3 championships, and Yachty isn't eligible yet, but he 100% gets in. So I think Posada, yes. Mauer, no. Posey, yes. Molina, yes.
Yeah, you could argue Posada because of the battery that he was a part of too.
Yeah.
All those pitchers that he fought for.
Absolutely.
I think that carries some weight.
And some pretty big hits in certain spots. All right, let's go first baseman. So I'm going to go honorable mentions because I think these are more interesting.
Yes.
I think so. Palmeiro, McGuire, no, because of poor performance-enhancing drugs. Don Mattingly, I think he gets in.
Yeah.
Todd Helton, I think Helton gets in. I think it's going to take a little longer, but I think he gets in.
Okay.
For sure. Second
base.
base.
Don Mattingly. That's what I got on that one. I'm with you.
Okay. Jeff Kent, second baseman.
Quietly, one of the best second basemen, right? Until I looked at his numbers, and obviously I saw him play with Barry Bonds. I think he obviously got overshadowed because he played with Barry Bonds. But when you look at his numbers, I mean, Jeff Kent's one of the best second basemen. So
agreed. I think he should get in.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to disagree here. Chase Utley, I don't think he gets in. I think he was a really, really good second baseman, but not a Hall of Fame caliber.
I'm with you.
Okay. I really thought you were going to fight me
fair.
on that one.
I want to keep, like I said, I want to keep the Hall of Fame to an elite standard as opposed to just letting everybody in. So that's fine. There's got to be cuts.
Okay.
Can't let everyone in.
All right, let's go shortstop. A-Rod, pass, performance-enhancing drugs. Omar Vizquel. Couldn't really hit that well. Obviously a phenomenal defender. But as we've seen but Scott Rowland was a better hitter than Omar Vizquel. Well, Vizquel was not an elite hitter. So
no.
I don't think Vizquel gets in.
Yeah, defensive. You can't get in just defensively. Right?
No, you need something like Helton was obviously an elite defender, but also had some pop and was able to hit a little bit. Jimmy Rollins.
I think there's an argument there.
There's an argument, but does he get in?
I'd say no.
I say no, probably. Nomar Garcia-Parra. I don't think so.
No. I don't think there's really. No.
Miguel Tejada? No. Too short. He had a couple good seasons. Also, he might have been linked to performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah. Or a bit older than he actually said he was as well.
That too. Barry Bonds, Pete Rose, Manny Ramirez. Unfortunately, none of them I don't think get in.
Yeah, I say yes to Pete Rose and
I say yes. I think Pete Rose definitely should be in the Hall of Fame.
You're the all-time hits leader. So
100%. I think
Pete
Rose
like to play a
should
couple
be
parlays. It's not. It's
Well, now, yeah, of course.
Me.
Considering how sports gambling is totally legal and not only legal, strongly encouraged every 5 seconds on television when you see like a FanDuel ad. Yep. Manny Ramirez is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. I know performance-enhancing drugs, but he is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. But I don't think Rose, Ramirez, or Bonds gets in. Beltran, I don't think he gets in. Honorable mentions: Kenny Lofton.
I mean, he had a pretty prolific career. He was all over the place. He was like Mr. Reliable, but I don't know.
People like him too.
Sure. That does matter as well.
That does matter. Likability does matter. That can get you in. Mm-hmm. Andrew Jones?
Probably not.
Probably not. Jim Edmonds? No. Okay. Sammy Sosa? No.
I would love that, yeah.
Obviously. Gary Sheffield? I think Sheffield could get in. His offensive numbers are pretty good.
He's got a phenomenal last name, too.
Yeah, he does. Ichiro, I think, is a shoo-in, obviously. Bobby Abreu?
No.
Okay. Pitchers. Schilling, I 100% think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, 100%.
Lincecum, yes.
Short career, but...
Still, but just totally dominant. I mean, okay. Sandy Koufax had a very short career. He was just amazing. Kevin Brown, I'd say no.
I don't know who Kevin Brown is.
He's a pitcher. He pitched.
Yeah,
you don't know who Kevin Brown is? He pitched for the Padres and I think the Dodgers. David Cone?
Yeah, Cone with the Yankees was pretty elite.
maybe. Or Hershiser, yes. Roy Oswald. Dude, he was so good with Houston. I don't know if it was that good. Johan Santana, definitely. I think that dude should be in like the 2000s. He was unhittable. He was so good and had that devastating changeup.
Cy Young winner.
And he was amazing for the Twins, like unhittable, and then also very good for the Mets. So I think he gets in. Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte, who ratted out everybody during the grand jury.
Weirdly, I think he gets in.
Maybe.
Mark Burley. I love Burley. I think he should be in. CC Sabathia. Do you think he gets in?
I like CC.
I like him too, but like, does he get in?
Yeah.
How many wins does he have?
He didn't. Did he win a Cy Young?
Sabathia played for 19 seasons for 3 teams, 251 wins.
Any Cy Youngs?
He won 1 Cy Young Award and was selected to play in 6 All-Star games.
Okay. I don't know if that'll do it, though.
I don't know, 251 wins.
Yeah, but we know wins isn't a pitcher stat.
I know, but people like him too, so that I think he might get in.
He's got a good story. Read that book till the end, CC Sabathia.
Let's go to relievers. Joe Nathan.
I don't have these guys' numbers in front of me.
Okay, Papelbon. Let's just talk. Like, what do you think? We don't need to like break down every statistic. Papelbon.
Here's one I think. This is what I wanted to tell you. One that I think deserves, and he recently left the game pretty bad. His career kind of went down the shits. Got DFA'd by the Diamondbacks, but he's probably the best postseason pitcher I have ever watched. Obviously, I haven't watched, all these guys that played in black and white, but Madison Bumgarner, 8-3 with an ERA of 2.1, 87 strikeouts, 1 save in 16 appearances in the postseason in his career. I think he had 3 wins in 1 World Series, if I'm not mistaken, and that's maybe where I think that save came in there as well. So 3 wins, 1 save in 1 World Series is bananas. Madison Bumgarner, like you said, during that stretch of the 2010, 2012, 2014, when the Giants won, just absolutely insane. The hoss for his team. So I think, because the most important thing is postseason pitching, regardless. You could pitch in the regular season and be stellar. If you don't do anything in the postseason, I don't care. The fact he was insane, lights out during the postseason, I think he's got my vote.
Yeah, I 100%.
Would you?
The guy
agree?
won. Absolutely, he won 3 World Series championships, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same thing with Posey. There's no way those guys are not getting in. Mm-hmm. I think that's why I think Andy Pettitte, just because he won so many playoff games with the Yankees in the 90s, sure. In the 2000s, he was a stud. Yeah. Do you think I'll get in the Naperville Rec Softball League Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
I have been connected to performance enhancing drugs. So
if I wasn't elected in yet, I don't know if you're going to be. I've won 2 championships there, so I'm still waiting for my
That's
call.
true. You're kind of a legend. We play at Frontier Park, which is right behind our old high school, and I have to drive past a fucking plaque with your name on it every goddamn time I go to softball. It is big, and it has everyone's name on the state championship on it.
Yeah, and their
number. It's starting to bother me.
John, what were you, 3 years ahead of me?
2.
2? 2 years ahead of me. Yeah. Yeah, you just missed it. The year before.
I remember you coming over to our house for Maria's graduation party, and you guys had just beat. Who'd you guys beat in the championship? New Trier. What was it, like 1-0? It was low score.
It was. I think we scored 5.
Oh, you had 5.
2. But John, we had 1 hit, and we could have won it with 0 hits because they did a pickoff to third base, wild pitch, and we scored 2 off of it. Pete Back got 1 hit, and it scored. It was like a bases loaded, 3 runs or whatever, and we could have won. That's destiny. When you could win a championship with no hits.
I remember you coming to that party, and you guys had just won, and you were like, so happy. I think you were wearing your like Letterman baseball jacket, and it was just like so fucking hot. Dude, I don't know. I feel like you were wearing
that Letterman jacket in the middle of the summer. Absolutely.
I don't know. You were coming off a high. You were state champ.
It was probably a baseball jersey, maybe the away jersey. I'll give you that.
It is annoying to have to drive past that fucking plaque and see your name every time I drive by. But it also there is a sense of pride that I have that I get to do this podcast with a state championship. Something that our class could not get done, but we couldn't get past Mike Bowden, who's probably
definitely
the best.
Not going to the Hall of Fame.
Not going to the Hall of Fame, but one of the best Illinois high school baseball players of all time. Yeah. And the number one pick, I think, for the Red Sox after they won the World Series in 2004, the 2005 pick, I think it was him. He was their first pick. Might have been Jacoby Ellsbury, then he was 2. I don't know. But he was like one of their top picks right after they won the World Series, which is high praise.
I think Ian Kroll, who played with us, I think he had a more prolific career than Mike Bowden, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he still in the league?
He's not, but he's still playing. I think he's either in. He played in Japan.
He played for Detroit
in Mexico right now. Yeah, he played with Washington, Detroit. Yeah, but yeah.
Was he like your number one?
No, because he was a sophomore when I was a senior. But he came. He obviously played with us. I guess maybe he was our number one. He came in to close out the last game, the championship game. He closed out.
Okay.
But yeah. I mean, when you're a sophomore in high school and you're throwing 92 as a lefty, yeah, dude, you're good.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Anywho, all right, John, that's the epi.
Cool, man. This is great.
All right, we'll be back next week. What's today? Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday.
All right, cool. We'll be back next week.
Peace.
Thank you.